All right, let's take a look at the Earthquaker Devices Wave Transformer. This is a VCO, analog VCO, which stands for Voltage Controlled Oscillator, and it generates waveforms that you use to make synth sounds. I have 3 analog VCOs right next to each other. I made a previous video about the Warng acronym, so you can check out that video if you want to see this one. And I'm just going to be taking the audio output from here without any effects or anything, so you can hear what it sounds like on its own, which is how I did the video for the acronym. So you could A/B those if you want to check out similarities and differences between those. But let's check out what this thing can do. Immediately when you look at this thing, you are drawn to this big shiny transform button, and this is a really cool feature of this oscillator. Obviously it's designed for performance because it's so big and easy to get to, but what it does is sweeps through some harmonic changes that it does to the waveform to either give you a simple triangle wave like we have all the way to the left counterclockwise, and then as we go clockwise to the right, you'll hear more harmonics being introduced. Until we get all the way clockwise to the right. And you get that beefy sub-oscillator. Now the sub-oscillator can either do 2 octaves down from your main pitch, you can turn it off, and you still sweep through harmonics without it. Or you can make the sub 1 octave down. One octave down, 2 octaves down. You can also turn off the source wave in your complex waveform output. Complex waveform is the sound that is affected by the transform knob. So complex. Now if you plug into sine, triangle, or saw, all you get is the triangle, sine, or saw wave. Rectangle, you just get the rectangle. It's not affected by the transform knob, but it is affected by the pulse width knob. A 100% pulse width is silent, as is 0%, but anything in the middle. And of course you can modulate the pulse width with an LFO or whatever. To be honest, I don't know why that they would include 0 and 100 in the pulse width range if they're silent. I don't know. Personally, I can't imagine a situation where I'm like, yeah, I want this to modulate to be silent. It just seems like a not useful part of the range. If they could have cut it off at like 1% and 99%, that may have been an improvement, but who am I to say? I don't design these things. I built this one from a DIY kit, and it's a miracle that it works because I don't know what I'm doing. all I do is make music with the stuff, okay? So please take any criticisms I have with a grain of salt. So another interesting thing that you can do here is turn off the complex source with this toggle switch here. That turns off the triangle wave, but you can still sweep through the harmonic waves that are generated from it. So it's just another option when it comes to shaping your tone. And we can also introduce some frequency modulation into this complex waveform. A good way to do it is to take either the sub-pulse or the sub-square wave. Linear FM here, linear frequency modulation, is going to be relatively subtle. Exponential frequency modulation, Expo FM here, is going to be more aggressive. Now, if you want to get really weird, you can send, you can patch anything into anything and see what happens, but if we put an LFO into the frequency modulation input, you can get some weird results. So I'm just adjusting the speed of the LFO here. That's a lot of fun. So there is something on here called shape insert, which is an interesting feature. I can take any sound source and plug it into the shape insert, and what it's going to do is send that external sound source through its own harmonics circuit. So I'm now not using the wave transformer as a VCO. Instead, I'm now using it as just a wave transformer to transform the wave of my external source. So I'm using the Warring acronym here. You can hear that just to demonstrate that it is in fact the sound coming from this, as I turn the tuning knob, you can hear that that's what's happening. So now, when I turn the transform knob all the way clockwise, it gets really nasty because it's still using the sub-oscillator from the internal sub-oscillator on the wave transformer. But that's fixed by switching sub-source from internal to external. It seems to have an easier time generating the sub-octave for the external wave when the external wave is a square. When I put it on this super saw, or whatever it is, that sounds pretty cool, actually. Ooh, let's do some more frequency modulation here. Okay, so the FM doesn't affect your external wave when you're running it through here. Still, that's a really interesting feature. So yeah, again, all you've heard is just the output from the wave transformer. I did run this external VCO, the acronym, through it. No effects or anything. That's all coming from here. So it has a pretty crazy internal circuit that affects the wave going through it. I ordered the Earthquaker wave transformer the day it got released because, well, for one thing, I'm from Akron, Ohio, where Earthquaker is based, and you love to root for a hometown team. Also, it's just a feature-packed module for the price. You know, it's $1 less than $200, and in the world of modular synthesis, something that's reasonably priced is usually kind of hard to come by. So yeah, nice job, Earthquaker, for this VCO. If you have any cool patch ideas for this thing, let me know in the comments. I'm doing a series of videos just kind of running through each of the modules in my rack. I've got these ones you can see up here. Also, some more down here. So we'll get to each of them eventually, but if there's one you want me to prioritize and make next, let me know. Otherwise, I will catch you next time. Thanks.